Founder of Searchforce, he managed clients with world's largest ad budgets such as Salesforce.com, Priceline, Experian, and Oracle. It's not easy to raise $10 million in financing or to optimize $1 billion in media ads, but he did it. Welcome on stage the founder, president, and CEO of GrowthMachines and growth mentor at 500 Startups, Samir Patel.
Hello everyone, how's everyone doing? Awesome, you guys had a good yoga session, so that helps wake everybody up. So where's the clicker? Oh, coming, okay, it's on the way. Okay, today we're going to talk about the future of marketing and the present of marketing in some of Silicon Valley's best companies. So how can you learn from them, and how we can go into the future of marketing is the main message here. So the purpose of the talk is how to build a growth engine for your startup or for your existing larger business, right? So, and how do you create a growth engine for your company? Whether if it's a big company, how do you launch new products using what the best startups use? If you're a smaller company, how to create an engine that's scalable, predictable, and sustainable over time, right? And a little bit about my background. I founded a company called Searchforce earlier, back in 2002, 2003 timeframe, where data science wasn't even a word. And using math and statistics in marketing was completely new. So we have managed a very, very large set of clients. And I grew a company from scratch. I hired a bunch of MIT scientists, PhDs to work on this platform. The platform is optimizing across different media spend. So, and I mentor at Growth. I'm a growth mentor at 500 Startups as well. My current company is called GrowthMachines. We work for growth training, and we also run growth for companies that want our help. So zooming out 10,000 foot level, as you see here, out of 1,000 bootstrap companies, this is Dave McClure's ecosystem, and out of 1,000 bootstrap companies, there's only 300 accelerator companies, and that come to 100 seed companies, and there's only a very few that actually reach 100 million plus in revenue, right? So what this is showing is, if you're doing a new company or a new project at a bigger company, your chances of success are super slim, right? Statistically speaking, research-wise speaking. This is another study from McKinsey, which is telling you that out of the 3,000 companies that they studied, there's only 17 of them that actually reach 4 billion plus in revenue. So if you look at aggregate startup growth or large companies growth, people have a very, very slim chance of winning, right? So we try to research and try to figure out, like, what is the key metric that you need to drive to be able to be the top person, right? And what this is showing is, there's a bunch of companies end up in three buckets: stallers, growers, and super growers, right? And researching what super growers do and their characteristics is all tied to the metric called growth. And high growth companies return 5x to investors. Growth tends to predict long-term success. If you reach $100 million in revenue, you're 8x more likely to reach $1 billion. And then growth matters more than margin or cost, right? So I like to take this analogy of ice creams. So we mapped out the ice cream consumption of different flavors, right? And as you see here, vanilla and chocolate is beating everything else, right? And there's 30, 40, 100 flavors of ice cream that are out there. And you see, by far, vanilla outbeats everybody, right? And this is the exact state of any vertical that you're in, right? Whether you're a search engine or whether you're an e-commerce company, there's only a couple of winners, and everybody else is just like trying to survive, right? So the goal is, how do you want to be vanilla, right? This is the presentation about that. So what I'm learning from all this is it's very much binary outcomes. It's either you grow fast or you die slow. So there's no third option here, right? And but everybody needs to grow, right? But growth is really hard, right? And why is growth hard for most companies? People can figure out how to build an app, build a service, build a product, but why is only some companies vanilla and others not, right? And the reason is that there's only a few winners. The digital channels, as we spoke earlier, are rapidly evolving very, very fast, and each of the changes, like in Facebook ads or WhatsApp ads or Pinterest or SEO, SEM is changing so fast, and it's very hard for companies to keep up with it. The third reason is you get to target people very, very precisely these days, right? On Facebook, you can target somebody, what they're doing, what they're doing, day of the week, hour of the day, exact demographic. But that also brings complexity to you as a marketeer to be able to figure out how to configure Facebook to target better, right? Also, a lot of people are using increasingly high speeds of doing business, so automatic bidding in programmatic networks. People are using data science to compete better. And so speed is increasing. People are using technology to do more. And there's a lot of money at stake, right? There's more than $100 billion at stake. So as you see, this is a matrix of all the channels, right? All the marketing avenues that you could use. And all of these are evolving continuously and changing, right? And you have to keep up with all of them. Nowhere in history before, 100 million users were available at your fingertips, right? All these platforms 10 years ago, most of them didn't exist. And now you have all these users available in all these networks, but their behaviors are changing, the way they, the way they interact with your product and services change. So, as you know, it's the whole marketing industry. So there's a lot of money at stake, right? And increasing complexity. So SEO is not SEO. Here you're seeing SEO used to be you write a bunch of title tags, you write a bunch of descriptions, and you're on top of Google, right? No longer. Now, Google is looking at speed, your mobile speed, your crawl speed, your design and UX, your press and PR. Now they're even measuring that if you click on a certain result, and if people are coming back, like if they click on your website and people come back too often, then they will derank you. So they're even tracking, so very, very small things. There's hundreds and hundreds of variables that go into page rank. Another example is quality score. That Google AdWords and Facebook ads rank your keywords when you're bidding for keywords. And quality score, look at how many inputs are there. If you want to increase your quality score, which will increase your conversion rate, you need to optimize 9 things just to improve one metric, right? I found a book on quality score, and it's just one metric in one channel, that is AdWords, right? And the book is $140 just to improve quality score, right? So it's very complex. Here you can see if I'm looking for pizza, if I'm bidding on a keyword pizza, I can target people by whether they're on the phone, whether they're downtown, what time is the day, and I can create an ad that says dinner specials, So for the same keyword, I can create very, very unique ads, right? So you need to know how to do that. Talking about speed, right? On Wall Street, there's a hedge fund that a few years ago paid $300 million to increase their speed of putting through their stock trades by 0.003 seconds. They paid $300 million, right? And it's hyper competitive. Wall Street is hyper competitive, and so is marketing is very, very fast getting there, right? Because there's a lot of money at stake. There's a lot of programmatic going on, and the reason I'm sharing this with you is I see marketing to be so slow and using so less of data science, so less use of quantitative science, that it needs to get there really fast. So if you look at the trading world, there's only 5 or 10% of trades now that actually humans are doing, right? Most of the equities in Europe and the US are bots trading. There's machines putting these trades, right? There's only a few, when you try to buy stock as an end consumer, you have almost no chance of winning over the long term. It's because all these hedge funds are using machines to trade, and they're very, very fast, very, very sophisticated. So again, this is already here in marketing. Like for example, if you look at the Google keyword auction, it's highly inflated. For the keyword cheap insurance providers, it's $54 a click, right? And now it's like $65 a click. This is a few years old data. Mortgage loan is like $44 a click, right? So these auctions are getting hyperinflated because everybody's making money, right? So that means you need to be more and more precise. You need to use more tools, machines, quantitative science to be able to do better continuously, right? So one of the main questions is in marketing, do you have data stars, right? Not like rock stars, but people who really understand data and how to use it to compete. So the key takeaways are you grow fast or die slow. Companies are hiring. Google is investing in hiring like literally rocket scientists and algorithm people, and they bought DeepMind, which is a mathematically driven firm. So in terms of what you're doing is when you're an advertiser, right? There's three people to the party: the person who's searching the information, your competition, and the ad network or the marketing network that is trying to make money, right? And your competition is hiring the best people to manage marketing. Google or Facebook and all these channels are hiring PhDs to make sure they make more money out of you, the advertiser, right? And if you're somebody who doesn't understand math, statistics, quantitative science, and you are bidding in that market, they will make more money from you than you will from them, right? It's very clear. So it's important for you to understand in your organization or your startup where are the key gaps, right? That you need to fill very fast. So I came up with a framework called the 3 Ps. It's called people, process, and platforms. And a way to think about how to structure your startup or structure your big companies. So people are your team, right? What does it look like? Your platforms are what software do you use to compete in marketing? And process is how do you internally run your processes within your company, and we talked earlier about KPIs and things like that, and the idea here is bringing a lot of lean marketing combined with software engineering and automation and using data analytics and testing, right? Those are the three major areas. So let's talk about people. So people now in marketing are starting to look more and more like data scientists to me, right? If you look at Airbnb, if you look at HubSpot, if you look at all the high growth companies, they literally have like nerds in marketing now, right? And kind of 8 qualities of world-class growth teams that I identified were they're very, very data driven, they know the platforms really, really deeply, they have a hustle mindset, so they're very, very fast and they're very, very quick at making good decisions. They do database decisions. They understand how to code if they need to code. They know advanced Excel. They know pivot tables. All these things are as a part of the whole picture. And then, so quickly, right? Marketing skills, as you see, is changing significantly. People are expecting you to code, know a little bit of quantitative science, Excel, web scraping, multivariate testing, A/B testing. So this is kind of where the puck will be in marketing, and you guys need to prepare yourself for it. So let's talk about platforms. So how can you use software and technology to scale your growth? We talked about establishing KPIs earlier, but here, it's similar to KPIs where you want OKRs for the team, right? So OKRs have been used by Google and Zynga significantly to manage their teams, and it's called objective and key results for everybody in the team. So this is the diagram which I call it growth stack, where there's a bunch of technology that you can use internally in your growth organization to be able to scale growth fast. Because as you know, there's tons of marketing tools and software, so I tried and went in and tried to figure out, because your team needs to know how to run these tools. This will help you scale really fast. So process is Kaizen at work, right? So as you guys, how many people know Kaizen? What Kaizen? Ooh, a lot of people. Okay, good. So it was used by Toyota to produce high quality products for themselves, right? And it was based on this idea of continuous learning and continuous iteration to be able to make any process better and faster, right? And we can use that. We should be using that in marketing, right? How do how does the entire group and the entire team or the entire company with an OKR, how do they all of them work together to be able to improve the one core metric that you need to hit, right? And for example here, right? If you look at here, everybody wants viral growth, right? Nobody wants to pay money. Like, I want marketing for free. And they see somebody else doing viral growth and it's like, yeah, and they even pitch to investors, I'm gonna go viral, you know? But if you look at the tip of the iceberg is you want viral growth, but there's so much work. You look at Slack's growth, you look at Dropbox growth, it's just not random, right? There's so much work getting done in landing page optimization, the right product, the right pricing, the right onboarding process, the right UX, the right behavioral economics applied, the right email marketing. I mean, all those things are actually producing virality, and it can actually be manufactured. It's not something that just happens, right? So, and you need to get all your teams on it, right? So the way to think about it is metrics for pirates is now you have a growth team. Now you need to figure out what KPIs you need to give them, and how do you measure what happens, right? And this gives you R, which is pirates, the way pirates talk, and it's acquisition, activation, retention, and revenue and referral. So these are every step of the funnel. Then you need your analytics, your Google Analytics, Mixpanel, Kissmetrics, whatever you use need to track this throughout the process, and you need to optimize different parts of the funnel, right, as you go about doing it. So this is another example, same example, a little bit blown up, where you're seeing your acquisition is coming in through all the major channels. They're coming into your website or app, you're engaging them, they're buying from you, or you're retaining them, they're referring you, and then they ultimately pay you revenue, right? So you need to be measuring KPIs and metrics across this cycle. So think about customer life cycle, like how they flow through the system, as opposed to only tracking the last click or the last transaction, right? You need to be tracking everything that a person does over the life cycle. So how do you manage this whole process, right? So as Muhammad Ali says, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The hands can't hit what the eyes can't see. What it means is, if you can't see anything, you're not going to be able to hit it, right? So analytics are your eyes, means like you need to be tracking every little thing that happens everywhere across these funnels, so that you can improve something, right? So establishing KPI, growth platform, and continuous improvement, right? This matrix actually helps you to, so now you have analytics platform, now you have the right people, now you need to choose what channels you will do first and second and third, right? So you could put all your channels up on the left column, like you want to do SEM, SEO, virality, you want to do direct selling, and then for each of the columns here, you can rank each of these channels, right? So what is the cost for me to launch this? Am I in traction phase of a startup? Am I in Series A, Series B? Are my investors looking for super growth? Depending on that, what you can afford, right? Targeting, how precise is this channel? Is SEO better than reaching precisely who I want, or is Facebook ads better, right? So you can rank the channel that way. Control, how much control do you have, right? In SEO, it's so hard to have control. If Google changes an algorithm overnight, your ranking falls third or fourth or fifth page, and you're screwed, your revenues fall, right? Whereas SEM, you can control a lot more, right? So you would rank that higher here. And by the way, this is from Brian Belfour of HubSpot. It's his model. Input time, how long does it take you to get started for that particular channel, right? SEO, you have to wait for 3 to 6 months. AdWords, it's instant, right? And can you really scale? Like once you put in $5,000, $10,000 a month, can you scale it to $100,000, right? So you can rank your channels like that. So the idea what you're doing is for each channel, you're looking at a growth risk meter, right? You're picking the highest risk, you're picking the lowest risk and the highest volume first, and then you're going outside, and then you're pushing out the high risk channels and the lowest volume, right? So this is kind of, you could think about it as you're trying to balance your portfolio, right? You're investing in things that have the lowest risk first. So yeah, establish clear quantifiable goals. Also think attribution modeling, because a lot of people only track the last click, but they don't track other things that people do on the website. And attribution modeling really helps you to allocate weightage to what people are doing. So for example, You're bidding on a keyword in AdWords, and then you want them to fill out a form. But you should not only measure how many keywords, what keyword landed how many forms. You should know if somebody watched a video on your website, if they downloaded a PDF. So you want to be in your modeling, in your what you're bidding for, how you're bidding. You need to have weightage to other things that people do. Otherwise, you'll have a bad model to put your investments on. Okay, so and then once your team is in place, once your channels are in place, now you need to put the process in place. And if you look at this, it's a very scientific process, right? It's something we used to do in labs, right? Like a scientist trying to figure out how to improve something, right? So for any marketing initiative that you do, launching AdWords or launching Facebook or launching anything that you want, you need to have an objective function. What is my objective? What is my hypothesis? Like, if I buy these keywords or if I buy these ads on Facebook, like, this is the result I think will happen. Oops. What happened? Can I get my presentation? Okay, I'll keep talking. So the idea is applying a scientific process to marketing, right? So you're running, what's your objective, what's your hypothesis, and then you're capturing results, and then once you gather the results, you are taking action on it over and over, right, to improve whatever you need to improve. So it's basically running marketing like a scientific process, right? So am I out of time? That's why you guys kicked me out?
Well, you're a bit out of time, so that's why I just wanted to warn you.
No problem.
Because
there was an abrupt warning, by the way. Yeah. You could have been nice about it.
You don't get it. I mean, we were trying to show you.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
Yeah.
So just wrapping up quickly, 1 minute. It's to be able to really think about how you manage your internal process, and to do it in a rigorous scientific way, as opposed to going after vanity metrics, right? So, and then I think the last part is you should hire a chief growth officer. Instead of just a chief marketing officer, somebody needs to be responsible for delivering revenue, right, and sales. Like, it cannot be, oh, I'm buying brand, I'm buying this, I'm buying that. That's fine. Everything, though, whether you're buying brand or not, it has to result into a number, right? So that's the last takeaway. Thank you so much.